Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review over on your favorite podcast app or become a patron, patreon.com/oldmanbrad. Well, I am back with another interview. This is one that's kind of been in, I don't want to say in the works, but one that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I have an interview with PJ Starks and Eric Huskisson of Blood Moon Pictures, and we're going to talk about their film New Year's Eve, amongst other things that they're working on. I met these guys over at Horror Hound last year, saw their movie last year, and have been wanting to talk to them. I didn't get a chance to talk to them last year, but I am excited to finally sit down, finally talk to these guys. Can't wait for you to hear it. Before we dive into it, though, I want to tell you, if you're in the Cincinnati area, come out to Frightful Fridays on the third Friday of the month. So thankful to be partnered with the Esquire to host a horror screening each month. We just finished a screening of the 2005 House of Wax. We haven't locked in July's screening yet. I will let you know as soon as we get it locked down. But third Friday of every month, I will be hosting a horror movie for that month. If you ever have ideas for any, or something you're like, you know what? You should try to get this one, Brad. Just shoot me an email, oldmanbradpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know some that you may want to see, and you know what? We'll see what we can do. Maybe we can drop it into a future screening. Third Friday of the month, and let's watch a movie together. So without further ado, I want to dive into my interview with PJ Starks and Eric Huskisson, and I will talk to you on the other side. My guests today have been involved in many projects and are the team behind Blood Moon Pictures, with such films as 13 Slays Till Xmas, Volumes of Blood, and their newest film, New Year's Eve. I want to welcome in PJ Starks and Eric Huskisson. How you guys doing today?
Great. How are you today?
Well.
I'm doing well. So tell everybody who might not know, because you're still kind of going festivals, trying to get it out there, about New Year's Eve.
So New Year's Eve is we're right now we're in the distribution process. We're going through that whole thing. The film, though, for anybody who may not know what New Year's Eve is, it's a holiday horror comedy slasher about three best friends who it's in the days leading up to a mandatory New Year's Eve party. None of them want to be there, and they hate their job. They hate their boss. They've got a bunch of dickhead employees, but they all work together and they're just living their life. And unbeknownst to them, there's this sadistic serial killer that is stalking all three of them, and he's kind of well known in the news and everything, but they have no idea really that he's lurking about. Now he is also being hunted by the police and FBI, so there's a whole lot of layers to the movie. And then what happens is they all go to the New Year's Eve party. Of course, the doctor, who's the serial killer, follows them there, locks everybody inside, and then all hell breaks loose once they start trying to have a party and have a good time. He ruins it, essentially.
What made you decide to go with a New Year's Eve horror film? I know we have, Terror Train, and we don't have very many New Year's Eve horror films. So it was kind of nice to kind of see another one kind of pop up on there.
Honestly, that really wasn't by design. What happened was, typically when we're shooting a film where we're right in the thick of it, at some point, inevitably, I come up with another concept for a movie. And it just so happened that while we were shooting 13 Slays Till Christmas, I had come up with the title for New Year's Eve. And then I came up with like a real basic concept, because originally it was supposed to be another anthology. And I went to Eric and I said, hey, so I've got this idea for another movie. And he's like, fuck that. We got to get this movie done. Let's focus on this movie first. Stop coming to me with ideas until we're done with the next movie. Or this movie. So 13 Slays, we finish it, we put it out there, and it does relatively well. And because of that, Eric said, hey, you know what we ought to do? That idea for the New Year's movie, we should do that next because it's the next holiday. And I said, okay, cool. So I pulled it off the shelf, refined it a bit. And around that time, we were both kind of talking about what direction we wanted to go next. Because with that point, we had done 3 anthologies. I had worked on like 1031, so I'd kind of helped out with some other anthologies and stuff like that. So, but we were kind of felt like we were pigeonholing ourselves as like the anthology guys. And we had always talked about other stuff we wanted to do. Like we talked about making a comedy. We had talked about making just a feature narrative. But because of the way we work, we only film on the weekends. And because that's just easier since we and most everyone we know all have day jobs. So typically everything is relegated, production's relegated to the weekends. So we decided, let's see what happens. Let's, take a shot in the dark and let's go for like a single narrative feature. So I took what was supposed to be an anthology. I completely reworked it. I threw the concept at him. He said, I like it. Go write the script. And then I got real lazy. And it took me about 3 months to really sit down and write it. Because every time I get real lazy when it comes to writing, because I like writing, but I have a hard time getting motivated. And Eric was just like, have you started the script yet? Have you started the script yet? And I'm like, not yet. I'm about to. And then I would go to write the script. And then I'm like, Chud 2, Bud the Chud needs to be watched again. So I really probably should do that instead. But I finally sat down and I wrote the script. And initially, the concept we had talked about, and I was the one that did kind of say, it's going to be straightforward horror and something with a lot of atmosphere. And so he liked that. And then when I sat down and wrote it, Kevin Smith is a huge inspiration. So a lot of you can hear a lot of how he kind of writes, in like he's influenced the way I do my own writing. And plus just me personally, the way I handle with a lot of serious things is I make jokes. When I started writing the script, I was dealing with I dealt with a whole bunch of like really serious stuff in my own personal life. And I ended up using the script as kind of a way to get all my feelings and stuff out about certain things. But to also cope with it, I made a lot of jokes. So after I got done writing the script, gave it to Eric, he read it. He called me, he goes, man, I really like this, but it's not a horror film. It's not that it's bad. It's a comedy. It's like it's more funny than like scary. And I said, well, I guess we're making a comedy. So we were like, let's do it. Because we talked about wanting to do a comedy. We talked about wanting to do a single narrative feature. And that's ultimately how it became a horror comedy.
And Eric, you were like, man, I need to go just shake him and get him working on this thing so we can.
No, he doesn't listen to me. I try, but he doesn't listen to me. He pushes me and gets mad when I don't get it done. I push him and he's like, oh, leave me alone. I got things to do. I have family. And that's the end of it. That's the way it goes around here. He picks and bullies on the old man.
No, I mean, Chud too, Bud the Chud.
We were just, it's just like right now, this part of it, we can't stand trying to get distribution, the budget in the beginning, the schedule in the beginning. But when you get on set, you get that adrenaline high. It's what you love to do. It's what you want to do. It's why you're there. You can't wait to see it on the screen. And then when you're at that point, it's like, come on, man, let's get on set. Write the damn script. Get off your ass. Quit watching movies you've seen 12 times. Quit making up excuses and write the damn script. Finally, he's like me with some things. It's like, you don't do it. And then it's like, I'm going to do it. Then he sits down and the next day he's like, hey, I'm like 95% done. I'm like, what? You didn't even started it yesterday. We fight, bicker back and forth a lot all the time. Like now on set, when we're out having dinner with the wives, going to the movies, but it's just how people make fun of us and joke around on set like we're a married couple because we fight and bicker so much, but that's how it gets shit done.
Hey, if it works for you guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like it's a horrible time on set. People have a blast on our sets. We feel like we're a lot of fun. It's already hard enough. It's long hours, no air conditioning. You got to be serious. You got to get your job done. So we try to make it a light atmosphere where everybody's having a good time. Family, friends. You just want everybody to have a good time and get to know each other and collaborate together. But there's times where shit ain't going right and it's midnight. Everybody's worked 14 hours a day before, 12 hours that day. And everybody's like, can we just get this shit done so we can go home?
I was going to say, we are like a married couple, but with a lot more sex than a regular marriage.
True. True.
When you're working on a film, you shoot weekends because you got the day job during the week. You shoot it on weekends. How does that work with the shooting schedule as far as time? Like how many weekends, like when you're planning out, you're like, you know what, this is going to take 5 or 6 weekends to get done, or kind of to break that up?
I mean, so typically when we do an anthology, you can shoot an entire sequence on a single weekend. So normally we would say, okay, well, if we're going to do an anthology that has 6 stories, we would schedule it for 6 weekends, and then maybe have a couple additional ones in case something doesn't work right and we have to do reshoots,
Okay.
or if weather or somebody gets sick or whatever the case may be. But then typically if we do something, it'll take 6 weeks to film the movie, and that's just the shooting. Of course, it takes more additional time with the editing, but with this film, with it being a single narrative, there were so many different set pieces. Because one of the things that's the other thing that we like in previous scripts, a lot of the stuff that, like, I would say majority of the time I was the one writing it. We would have other writers that would come in, and then on like 13 Slays, Eric had written and directed for the first time, but we would come up with stories and write them around places we knew we had access to.
Okay.
But when I sat down to write this, I went in not having a specific plan. It was more like when it got done, Eric's like, so how are we filming in a hospital? How are we filming in a room that's full of dead bodies and there's a kill machine and all? Like, how are we doing? How's all this going to work? And I was like, well, we got to figure it out. So of course we budgeted the movie based off that. So it had a much more substantial budget. And then the set pieces were much larger. And normally, like, I love doing what I call the aftermath scenes. And it's, where you have the victims who have survived, and there's all the police and the ambulances and stuff like that. Well, we did that this time too, but we actually had 2 of them. And there were like 10 times the amount of law enforcement. And this time we ended up having like a fire truck and all this other stuff. So now some of that was happenstance because it was opportunities that presented itself. When you write certain things, you have to figure out, well, how are we going to do this? And we had no idea. So scheduling is a logistical nightmare to begin with, but we ended up scheduling it so we had to get with everyone, find out what their schedules were over a period of like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem with this one.
Yeah, because we were scheduling around birthdays, holidays. So we started at the end of January of 2023, and we filmed principal photography through like the middle to the end of July of that same year.
Okay.
But then we ended up having some weekend reshoots, and so so it took a long while to film.
You have Felissa Rose is in the movie. Jeffrey Reddick's in the movie. How did you get, these people kind of involved? People that horror fans would know who they are.
Well, Jeffrey was a friend of ours. PJ reached out to him years ago and became friends with him online. And then through that, I became friends with Jeffrey, and he helped with 13 Slays and came on and did a cameo and wanted to come on and do more here. If I'm not mistaken, then Lance Wagner was the one that got you in contact with Felissa, correct? And then with Felissa comes Dave, and then I forget how did Hannah come about? Did somebody mention her, or was that was Felissa as well?
Yeah,
Felissa
when we were on the phone with
for us,
Felissa, she loved the role that we were offering her. She really liked the script. She said, "Hey, I noticed there's other roles in here. Did you guys have anybody else in mind for parts?" And I knew that she knew Dave and Hannah, and that was the other thing. Like, we didn't just want name actors that were in the movie or icons that people just the ones that they recognize. Like, they also had to be able to carry the weight of the roles. Like, we wanted actors who could act.
What?
And Felissa's, I know it's a weird concept. Felissa is a strong actress. Dave is a strong actor. Same with Hannah. Like, they're all very natural. And that's the thing about acting, is like, it has to sound like it's being said and performed for the first time ever, as if it's a normal conversation. And they're all capable of doing that. So we said, Dave, Hannah, here are the parts that we're interested in having them as. Would you reach out to them? She said yes. She contacted him, gave him the script, told him the parts. Hannah and Dave both said, yes, we're interested. And then she put us in contact with them. And then that's how they got involved with the project.
Once everything's said and done, you got it, you finally got it put together. I got to see it last year at Horror Hound. You played at Horror Hound, won an award at Horror Hound. How was the experience bringing it to Cincinnati at Horror Hound, playing it there in front of a crowd and everything?
I mean, it's weird. It was I would say a majority of the screenings went really well.
Okay.
But the reaction to the humor was kind of bipolar, because where like we took the film to Chicago and screened it in Chicago, and then like what people would laugh at there and then not laugh at when we went to Horror Hound or Manhattan or, one of those other places. It's like places that people didn't laugh would get belly laughs, and then throwaway jokes would get huge laughs.
Okay.
So it was really bizarre, but overall, the response to the movie was extremely positive. So much so that when we had the premiere in Owensboro, I mean, we had so many people show up. There was like a line down the block and around the building at the River Park Center that we showed it at, and Jeffrey was able to be there. So that was one of the cool things like that I was really happy about, is that Jeffrey got to like sit in a full room with hundreds of people and experience the movie. And the premiere is always a different situation, because a lot of the time it's people who have direct connections to the movie, so they have some personal ties, and the premiere, people may get into it more than other places. But I would say a lot of the stuff that got reactions at the premiere did get the same reactions at other screenings. But Jeffrey got to experience all that firsthand, what Eric and I had been experiencing already by taking the film out. So he got super pumped and super excited, and that's why he's been so instrumental, like on the post-production side of producing the movie and helping us with like the distribution side. But yeah, that's my perspective as far as the screenings go.
Yeah, Horror Hound, man, we got a lot of laughs at Horror Hound. We got a lot of reactions, a lot of people coming up to us afterwards. As much so that when we were sitting during the award thing and we were nominated for all these awards, and it's like, okay, well, we didn't win that one. Oh, well, okay, we didn't win that one. And then Stan, I think we were up for 9 awards there, PJ, wasn't it? 9 or 8, 7,
actually,
somewhere around there.
I think we were up. I want to say, yeah, we were. I think it was around 8 or 9.
8, yeah. So we're sitting there, and it's like it's number 7, and it's like, well, that's 7 of the 9. And then when we won Audience Choice, man, it was like...
Well, here's the thing. We didn't even know we were up for Audience Choice.
Right.
So we went through everything we knew we were nominated for and got nothing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of the people that won, I would say not all of them, but quite a few of them we knew or, were friends of ours. So we were, like, happy and excited for them. Yeah. But there's always that part of you where you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I wanted to win something.
One. Yeah.
I just knew by the reaction in that room we were going to win something. Just knew it.
Yeah.
But it was going to be that.
Yeah, it didn't happen. And then we went through the whole list of stuff we knew that we were nominated for, and we were like, all right, well, I guess we're walking away empty-handed. And then next thing you know, Audience Choice that we had zero clue about.
Yeah, PJ and I looked at each other like, what do we do now? We didn't expect this.
But that had to give you a boost of energy to be like, you know what? The audience who watched the movie loved us through this weekend. And you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to get nominated for all those other awards, win for Best Director, Actor, Special Effects, Lighting, everything, all the hard work people put together to help you get this movie out there. But when you win an overall like Audience Choice like that, man, that just says everybody did their job. You knocked it out of the park. Way to go. And that was just an awesome award to win.
And now going through the fun process of trying to release it to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting so I can add it to my stack on my shelf. So
we would love to say, hey, you're going to have this December 1st.
But that's the process of the game is, it's I've talked to many indie horror filmmakers who are like, that's the piece that they hated the most was the Okay, now it's the waiting game of trying to see what's next. When can I get this to people?
Yeah. We talked to so many filmmakers, and there's so many, especially indie filmmakers, ones that, they were just so ready to get the movie out there, which, I mean, Eric and I both understand that feeling, because you've gone through the whole process. And even by the time you started shooting, it had been well over a year since, because we had to go through all the pre-production. And even before that, it's writing the script and then rewriting the script and refining the script. And I would say most people would feel like it took a long time. For me and Eric, it's been even longer than that. So by the time you get to what you feel like is the finish line, like, yeah, you're ready to get it out there into people's hands. So because of that, though, it becomes this slippery slope where if somebody reaches out to you, you're like, oh, yes, we've got distribution. So it's like they want to grab the first thing that's put on the table. And not every single filmmaker does this, but I have talked to quite a few who are like, man, I took the first one that came along and I wished I hadn't. I wished I'd searched around more. And that was what Eric and I ultimately did. It was because, and that was even what Jeffrey was saying. He's like, let's just see how things turn out and then keep going and see what kind of offers we get. Because that was the other thing that was different from all of our previous films. Typically, we would have to search, like Volumes of Blood Horror Stories. We were searching and searching and searching for distribution, and then found Petrie Entertainment.
Dark Cuts.
Well, Dark Cuts was the genre arm of Petrie Entertainment.
Under Petrie, right.
Right. But Volumes of Blood led us to Scream Team releasing the re-release. And of course, we had worked with Justin on Horror Stories. So then when we went with Justin for the re-release of Volumes of Blood, that was one of the best experiences we had had with distributors up to that point. So when 13 Slaves Till Christmas came out, we immediately went to Justin because that's who we wanted to work with again. The only difference was, and it's not that we didn't want to work with Justin again or Screen Team with New Year's Eve, but because the budget was so much more substantial and the look and the feel was bigger, the scope was larger, and the other thing that
we were getting.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like the one thing that we never planned for, and the one thing we never been through before, was we started getting offers from distribution companies once like the trailer came out.
Oh, wow.
That's not to say that they were good offers, but that was something that we never, that's not a situation we'd been in where companies were seeking us out and wanting to know if they could get our movie. So then suddenly we started having and then sales agencies started reaching out to us because they wanted to help us take it to market and all this other stuff. So instead of just picking the first or the second or the third, we kept holding off because we were like, there's got to be a bigger and better offer and a bigger and better offer. We're finally at that point where we feel like we're there, but there's always a hurdle or there's some like scenario that rears its head where you're like, okay, now we got to keep waiting a little bit longer to try to figure out, is this going to work? Like or turn out the way we want it to turn out. So that's kind of where we're at now. We're in this like weird holding pattern, which is super annoying, but it's been part of the journey so far. So we're still not, we're not trying to push our luck.
And while you're in this holding, kind of holding period on New Year's Eve, there's some other projects that you have been working on, whether writing, producing, or whatnot. Can you speak to any of your other projects that kind of are in the works during your holding period on this film?
I guess I can talk about Barn 3. We worked with Justin on the Barn 2, and he'd reached out, I guess, with the Barn 3. PJ acted in part 2, and he reached out, and so PJ and I are both producing, and we decided to go, or he asked us if we asked if we'd come out. So we actually went out, we stayed a week, and we helped work on set, met a lot of the actors, had a couple of possible cameos in the film. So we're producing, trying to get the Indiegogo going, kind of helping him out. Got to go on set. That was pretty cool, spending all that time in a cornfield and doing some things. And we had a good time. We were at a couple of different places. We were going to go back in March, but that kind of got nixed, so we didn't have to get to go back out, unfortunately. It was a good experience. I mean, he's came here and helped us, and we've been there and helped him a couple of times. He's got a pretty good setup. He's got a good group of people that he has working with him. We had a good time working with these guys. He had some really good locations this time. And the special effects, Cody Ruck, man, unreal. Was blown away with some of the stuff he did. I'm looking forward to what this is going to look like. A lot of cameos are going to be in this film as well. He brought a lot of people in. You could go down the line. So Felissa Rose is one of them. You can get killed by and be on screen with her, which is part of the perks on the Indiegogo he has for the Barn 3. We were glad that we got to be a part of it. We had a good time going out and being there.
I mean, Eric said hit a lot of the points. When we went on set, I mean, we were there for about 8 days, and we stayed in so Justin has his own studio. It's like a pole barn, but he turned it into a studio, and it has a loft, and that's where Eric and I stayed. We were on blow up mattresses for a whole week, and I snored hellaciously and kept Eric up. And that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a lot of late nights. It was mostly night shooting, and we went out to several different places. We were at a barn location for several nights. We were out in a cornfield, which was fucking cold as balls when we were out there. It was fun because there was and some of the pictures have come out this, but there's like a big chainsaw massacre scene. There's some, so we got to be there for that. And like Eric said, we may or may not be in the movie if you look real carefully somewhere. You may not have to look very carefully. You'll have to wait.
Yeah, one of
the
actors we got to work directly with while we were out there, which I should have mentioned before, was Courtney Gaines, from Children of the Corn and The Burbs. He was really fun to work with. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, so he was solid.
We got to hang with him quite a bit.
Yeah, we got to meet a majority of the cast, the main cast, and some of the supporting actors. One night when we were at this barn location, two of the leads were having to they're trying to escape this barn, and they're on the inside, and they're banging really hard on the door, and it's a big barn door, so it keeps like swaying, and they need it to be as stiff as possible. So there were a group of us that were on the outside, but it kept wanting to give, and because you could see through the slats, no one could just stand on the other side. I had the idea of laying down on the ground, getting as close as my ass as close as I could to the actual door, and then propping my feet up against it as if I'm, giving birth, and holding the door closed. And Tristan is hammering the door as hard as he possibly can. And suddenly this piece of the door breaks loose, like this big sliver of wood, and it comes straight down and hits me right in the nuts. And they didn't get it on camera.
It was awesome.
But you could, I think Eric did it on purpose. I think he snuck a piece of wood through the crevice and then let it go and hit me right in the balls. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it's not on camera, but you do hear me get hit, I guess, because everybody, as soon as I was hit, it hurt. So of course I made a loud noise, and then everybody starts laughing, but nobody really knew what had happened until I'm like, oh, my fucking balls. I was gonna say that was probably the most memorable thing that happened, next to working with Courtney.
I am excited to see the Barn 3. I love the first two. The first two are just fun watches. I'm excited to check that one out. And you have a short film too, PJ, that you're helping produce as well, correct?
Yeah, it's called Halloween, and it's being shot out of LA by Stephen Wolf. He did Doll Factory. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. It's his feature film that he did. He also was a director on 1031 Part 2.
Okay.
So him and his buddy Tim Robinson, who's an actor, but he's also producing Halloween. They're kind of the main two guys that are making this movie. Joe Grassafi is one of the, I'm probably butchering his last name, is one of the actors in the film, which Eric and I saw a short film when we went to Smod Castle in New Jersey for our New Year's Eve screening, and it had Joe in it, and it's a great short if you ever get to see it. But it's about these two, basically two white elitists who are trying to purchase the right to say the N-word, to buy the word to be able to use it from the black community. And it's really funny because the whole movie, the two guys they're trying to buy it from, they're saying it left and right because they can. But the other two, the white guys, want to say it, but they can't because they shouldn't. And it's just the way it was done was really, really clever, and it was really funny.
Yeah, the ending of it is hilarious.
Yeah, it's really good. But anyway, so Joe is in that. I think it's called The Word is what it's a short film. So if you ever get a chance to watch The Word, check it out.
I'll look for it.
But yeah, so we're in the process now. I'm helping them put together the crowdfunding campaign, and that should be going up in the next month or so. And then they're going to start filming in about 2 to 3 months. But they're still going through the pre-production process, and I'm just kind of helping, like from a marketing and promotion standpoint, in some creative capacities. It's kind of my role on the project.
Are there anything like any other projects you want to talk about, or anything else you want to say on New Fear's Eve, or any other things that you have in the works?
So there's one other film that I'm producing out of Louisville. It's called The Last Sleepover, and it's a slasher film. It's has a really strong kind of 90s revenge slasher vibe. It's about this group of girls who were very tight knit in high school, and they pulled a prank that went horribly wrong. And then 25 years later, they get together at the reunion, and then people start dying left and right, and they're concerned that it might have something to do with what had happened, and now their past is coming back to haunt them. And about 2 weeks ago, I was in Louisville helping film. It's Greg Brock, Austin Rutherford, Jason Crow is kind of co-directing. He's also the first AD on the movie. Yeah, I mean, they got an incredible crew of people. And then while I was there, so Felissa Rose is also in the film. She was there. It's the 4th movie I'm working on with Felissa.
It's like she's following you around or something, or are you following her
Almost.
around?
The cool thing was like, so the weekend that Eric and I filmed with Felissa for New Fear's Eve, it was very run and gun, and we're both directing and we're producing. So it's like we're problem solving and having to direct. So we never really got an opportunity to ever sit down and really get to know any of the actors that had come in from out of town. At least not on set, and then or any of the actors that would like the Hollywood talent that we brought in. The cool thing about being on another set when Felissa was there, at one point it was like maybe an hour and a half. Felissa and I just got to like sit there and just shoot the shit for that whole time, and really got to know each other. And that was probably one of the coolest parts about it. Next to Lisa Wilcox was also there, so she's from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5. She's, of course, she's done a whole bunch of other stuff, but she's also a solid actress. And she actually has ties to Owensboro because there's another filmmaker here that had brought her in to do something. So her and I got to kind of talk about that because I said, hey, we have a mutual friend. And then funny enough, he actually showed up on set in a small cameo during the reunion stuff that we shot when we filmed at a Masonic temple for all the reunion scenes, and he was actually there, so that was pretty cool. But it's going to be a really fun project. I got to rewrite some of the scenes. I went through the script. I gave the kills an overhaul. A lot of it originally was just like a lot of stabbing, and I'm real big on blood and gore. So I asked Greg and Austin, I'm like, if you guys are cool with it, can I revise your kills to make them more brutal or more elaborate? And they were like, absolutely, do your worst. So I got to go through and overhaul all the kills and come up with some new ideas and stuff whenever we were on set. So I think it's going to be a really cool movie whenever it's done. And it's also in demand right now. And it's got a ton of perks. So if anybody's interested in checking it out, they can. It's just another Kentucky film that's going on right now. So it's cool to be a part of that.
PJ and Eric, I'm so happy we finally got to connect. I know we connected briefly at Horror Hound, but it was like that weekend for you guys and for me, it was just like I was just on the go the whole time. So that's every Horror Hound anyways. But thank you guys so much for coming on to chat with me, and make sure you guys, anyone listening, watch for New Fear's Eve. And then The Barn 3, Half-a-Ween, and The Last Sleepover. Keep your eyes out for those, too. They're all in crowdfunding right now, but go check them out.
And Eric's OnlyFans.
And Eric's OnlyFans. There we go. And where can people kind of follow along to you guys? Whether it's Blood Moon Pictures or you guys personally.
Go to bloodmoonpictures.com. All our movies, links to the trailers and information, we try to keep on there. We are on Instagram. It's Blood Moon Pictures 15. We are on Twitter, but we haven't really started doing anything there. We do most of our stuff through Facebook. Blood Moon Pictures has its own Facebook page. PJ helps keep up with that. And then PJ and I both have our own personal Facebook page. Anything we do, updates, casting, news about, what's coming up with an old movie, coming up with a new movie, basically you're going to find on Facebook, and then other sites it'll fan out to and get there. But Facebook is the best place to go. But right now, if you want to look at what we've done in the past, bloodmoonpictures.com is the best place to go.
Thank you guys both again for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Sorry for the delay in the beginning, but it usually does happen. PJ's right. Don't know why.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to thank PJ and Eric again for chatting with me. It's been a while that I wanted to set this up. I wanted to do it when I was at Horror Hound last year, but never got the chance. I think I had to leave early. But it was great to finally connect with them to talk New Fear's Eve, everything that went into that, as well as projects that they are working on. The Barn 3, you have Summerween, and all the others. I cannot wait to see these other films that they are working on. Really excited for the Barn 3. I really enjoyed the first two. So looking forward to seeing where the series goes from there. And I wish them all the best with New Fear's Eve. When it finally releases, I do recommend checking it out. I had a fun time with it. It is a horror comedy that's got some good blood and guts in it. There are some good kills in it. There's one kill that I can't say because it'll kind of ruin it, but there's one kill in it that I really found not only hilarious, but I really loved it. Watch for New Fear's Eve, hopefully coming very soon. Keep an eye out, go to Blood Moon Pictures, follow these guys online for updates for when it'll come out. Can't wait to see what else they have coming in the future. This episode just kind of a straight up interview episodes. I don't have a double feature to go with it since, you can't get to the film yet. If it's playing at a festival near you, go check it out, but watch for it. Just make sure you subscribe to the show so you never miss any episode of any series of anything coming to Old Man Brad. Getting ready to start one of my biggest series that I've done on the show in July. I'm doing the month of Mattei. I've been saying Mattei, been mispronouncing his name. Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso. They work together on many of these films I'm doing. I have 6 films coming out in July. 5 of them on the show here. 1 of them patron exclusive. But watch for all of those coming in July. Special guest for every episode. It's been fun. I've recorded some of them already. They have been so much fun to watch, so much fun to talk about with my podcasting friends. But just subscribe and you won't miss it. I will be back soon with a brand new chapter. Later this week, I'll have a Tales from Tubi, so spoiler alert, just watch for that. But until then, just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.